Welcome to the 8th episode of Holy Dhams series. Today, we plan to cover few more special places. Actually, because I was thinking that we can probably do about Gokul Dham, but it is so big. So what I'm thinking is I'm actually just trying to finish some of the vanas and then dedicate one whole session for Gokul. So today we plan to cover Kamyavana, Bandirvana, Matavana, Belvana, Lohavana, and also probably we may be touching some places like Akrura Ghat and all those things, Yakshna Sala, etc. So Kamyavana is another forest in the list of Vrindavan Dhams, where Lord Krishna enacted many pastimes. In fact, Lord Krishna along with his Gopas go to every vana. Vana means forest. Every vana in turns, taking turns for their cow herding and importantly their pastimes. So Kamyavana is very famous for the original deity of Brinda Devi. Because remember, if you see, the whole Brindavan is named after Brinda Devi, who is Tulasi Maharani. So it is an expansion of Radha Rani herself, came as Brinda Devi and arranged all the leelas and pastimes, and the whole Brindavan was actually manifested by her arrangement. So this is a place, Kamyavana is a place where we have a very, very important deity of Brinda Devi. So this is the Brinda Devi temple. So what you see on the right side is a entrance. So this temple was built by Vajranabha. I really told about his name several times. So Vajranabha is the great grandson of Dwaraka Krishna. So he installed a deity of Brinda Devi in this Kamyavana. So Brinda Devi, as I mentioned, is none other than Tulasi Maharani. And she is very important for all the Krishna devotees. That is why in the temples we do Tulasi Puja. Every day Tulasi Puja is actually part of our regular worship. And Brinda Devi is the key in all the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So herself, along with Yogamaya, arranges for Krishna's pastimes. So it is also the Shastra says that in any place, if there is even a single Tulasi sprout, that place should be called Vrindavan. So this is what the scripture says. So such is the glory of Brinda Devi. Also in this Kamyavana, there is a place called Vyomasura Cave. Vyomasura Cave. This cave is located in the middle of a hill. So it got this name because Krishna killed the demon called Vyomasura here. So once Krishna and his Gopas, they all came to this place to graze their cows. Krishna and the Gopas began to play a game because they used to play so many varieties of plays they used to do. So that time they were playing a game called Thieves Stealing the Sheep. So many Gopas pretended to be sheep and others pretended to be their owners and others took on the role of thieves and steal their sheep. That was a play. That time, intending to kill Krishna, Kamsa sent Vyomasura to this place. This Vyomasura entered the group disguised as a Gopa to play as a thief. So he came and then he really grabbed all the Gopas who were playing the role of the sheep and hid them in this cave. So what you see on the left side, so you will see that there are a lot of caves there. If you go there, you can see there are a lot of compartments. So he was actually pushing every Gopa there and then put a stone or something. So he was actually just putting there. Why? Because he was planning to attack lonely to Krishna, to really kill Krishna. So all the Gopas are here, and now Krishna, he could easily kill Krishna. That was what he really thought. And Krishna after some time saw that the Gopas who played as sheep were missing. He wondered, where have all my sakhas gone? Then he realized what happened. Recognizing Vyomasura as a demon in disguise, he understood that it was his work. Krishna therefore immediately ran towards to this Vyomasura and kicked him, gave a big kick, and then it was such a force, and one kick knocked out, and Vyomasura fell dead. And when he was killing this Asura, the earth began to tremble. The earth was about to wobble. You know already, Lord has arranged to turn it to 21.5 degrees or something so that 4 seasons are coming. But anyway, so when he did this, the earth started wobbling because of the pressure that Krishna used to kill the demon. So Balaram saw this. Okay, so as soon as he really saw that it was wobbling, he really took his foot and pressed the earth to really hold it in place and stabilized to really get back to normal. His footprint, that is Balaram's footprint, can still be seen today. You see on the right side, right bottom, that is a place. It's very, very way. See, that is his impression, right on the hill when they were all there. So, in fact, it is Baladev who is making all the planets perfectly arranged and smoothly rotating and traveling with so much of speed. It is actually his energy. So, Balaram is the one who is really taking care of all the planetary system, everything, including all the lokas and everything, all the manifestations are from Balaram. So, this pastime has been described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you read. So, when we visited actually here, we were actually going this way, and thinking, oh yeah, we'll go up and then come back again. We left the slippers over there on the bottom, and then it turned out to be, because that's the first time. So after that we really went, so many places there on the hill. So we went and saw the footprint and everything. Then there is a slide also. So we went, and then everybody said, no, we are not going to go back that way. We are going to continue. So we were walking without the slippers. then went back to our place, and then we really bought the slipper. Anyway, so that slipper may be still there, I remember. This cave is related to the slipper that we really left there. Also nearby, we can see this Bhojana Thali, where Krishna and Gopas used to sit and eat their lunch. Okay, Bhojana means eating, and thali means eating plate, right? Plate where so we really eat from. So these thalis were made by the Gopas for eating their lunch. So we can see those thalis and also the cups. Actually, what you see on the right side, bottom. Those are the thalis, some of the thalis that they really made. So what they do is they really put all the things, whatever that they brought, put there and then eat. Okay. Then also they really made some natural cup holders. It's all around there. So that is where they really place their like the water cups or something, whatever. I think they really make use of some leaves also to really drink water. So many pastimes happen here. So now we can see that all the thalis and also the place where they used to really place the water cup and everything. And devotees use, when they go, they really used to put so much of fruits and at this place, and also so some used to put coins, money and everything. So anyway, so also near to this place is Krishna Kunda. So this Krishna Kunda is just whatever you are seeing. Actually, it is there at the bottom, right? And then, so I am not showing that one. And after killing this Vyomasura, Krishna actually took bath in this kunda. And then they all had bhojana along with his friends, Gopa friends, they're all. So also at this place, if you see inside, there is a kind of a small temple, and you can see the deities of, they have Sri Gopinathji. Gopinath, actually deities are there. Now also in the same Kamyavana, in a place called Kadamba Kandi, okay, Kadamba Kandi, a saint called Nabaji used to live. Okay, so this is again part of the Kamyavana only. So it is said that he would remain absorbed in meditation on Krishna's pastimes, and for a long time he would sit like in samadhi. He had a very long matted hair. It's very, very long. And which used to be, whenever he used to go out, it always used to entangle, because he never ties that. It just leaves, he used to leave it as they are. And whenever, wherever he goes, if there is any thorny, bush or something, so her hair used to get stuck there. So once, being thus absorbed, went out to pick some flowers for the service of Sri Sri Radhakrishna, and he got stuck really bad this time on a very dense thorny bush. He could not take his hairs from the thorny bushes at all. It was so entangled. He was trying and trying and thorns, and he could not do anything. But he was in meditation. He just forgot what he was doing, and then he was in meditation, and he was standing, because that was his important thing. And he remained standing in that same position for 3 days. 3 days he was stuck, standing in that place. Looking at his funny condition, Radha and Krishna came there in disguise of a boy and a girl. And Krishna started to disengage his hair. One by one he was actually taking out, and still he was meditating. And then he really came to his sense. And he saw, wow, he's now freed up. And the girl was standing nearby, and the boy was actually just finishing taking the hairs out. Who are you? So Nabaji asked. So the girl, who is Radharani, smiled and indicated with her eyes that it was Shyamsundar. That boy, he was the one who really disentangled his matted locks. And as soon as they say that, they both disappeared. Then Nabaji realized that it was Radha and Krishna who actually came. So he rolled on the ground, weeping and weeping and weeping and weeping, because getting a darshan of Radha Krishna is not easy. So he finally got the darshan. In fact, they came to really disentangle his hair from the thorny bush. So that happened in Kamyavana. Also, this is the house of Lalita Devi. Who is Lalita Devi? Lalita Devi is one of the primary gopis of Radharani, right? He's gopis along with Radharani. So he is one of the Sakhis of Radharani. She is actually very powerful. So this is the place where she was born. She was born, or she was married to, or something like that. Anyway, so that marriage is all to Krishna only. So she is so powerful and very important that she can even chastise Radharani. He can also chastise Krishna. Such a power that she got. In fact, by age, when they really appeared in this earth, she was actually little older than Radharani also. Anyway, this place is also in Kamyavana. This is called Lalita Vivaha Mandala. This place is Lalita Vivaha Mandala. So once when Krishna was here with Ashtasakis, the Sakis somehow planned and arranged something to really do with Lalita Devi, because it's all nearby to her home anyway. So without Krishna also not knowing, so these gopis, they took from behind they took the dress of Krishna, and also took got hold of the veil of Lalita Devi and put a knot there. And they all started singing marriage songs. And as soon as Lalita Devi heard this word, no, what are you trying to do? And then she was trying to escape from the place. But what happened? He got stuck because he was already tied with Krishna's cloth. So that happened at this place. So this also in the Kamyavana. Right? Okay. Now, when I covered the Barshanadam, I told you about a story about a poor Brahmana who came to Krishna to get help to give her daughter in marriage. That was in Barshana. A very similar incident also happened at this place. It's called Deha Kunda. So, yes, so another Brahmin again, old Brahmin, he again came with the same kind of reason, and he said, I have a problem in giving my one daughter in marriage, and now I have nothing I have, so I need some help from you. I know you can actually help me out. So again, as usual, he gave Radharani to the Brahmin, and then said, all right, okay, so he is that is my only treasure, and I am giving that to you. Again, he started crying, and finally, so like they said, all right, okay, I will get back Radharani by giving equal amount of gold and jewels and everything. So that was it. So that happened at this place also. This is called Deha Kunda. Actually, one particular thing about this Deha Kunda is, those days people with leprosy and all kinds of diseases, they used to go there, and they used to really put one small gold, little gold, because in memory of this incident, and take bath. Their leprosy or whatever, they used to really vanish straight away. But anyway, so that's why it's called Deha Kunda. Now, let us move to another vana nearby. This is very important vana. This is called Bandir Vana. Okay? In this place, there is a very famous banyan tree called Bandir Vata. Vata means banyan tree, Alamaram. So this was the place where mostly Yashoda and the mothers of the cowherd boys used to send lunch with some Gopas, elderly Gopas, for their respective sons, who all came with Krishna and Balaram to herd their cows and calves. And while grazing the cows, Krishna, Balaram, and the boys all used to swim in the Yamuna nearby, right there. You can actually see in the right picture. The Yamuna is right there. And they engage in water sports. They play like amazing. They would then after that, they would sit under the shade of the same banyan tree and eat whatever the various preparations and food they're all brought and also sent by their mothers through the elderly Gopas. So this is Bandir Vata. Okay, that's a banyan tree. It is still there. Okay, we can go there, and then when we go, we can see this place also. When they all eat their lunch, Krishna would sit in the middle, and all the Sakas would sit around Krishna. Around. And our Gurudev used to say there used to be hundreds or thousands, that's what we used to say. So much, so many. But how they because there will be some Gopas, we may think that they will be far away. But actually, when they all sit there, surrounding Krishna in circles, even if they are far away, they will see that Krishna is sitting right just in front of him. Right there. He is the one who is sitting in front of. So this is because of the Yoga Maya. All the Gopas will always see that Krishna is always, with him completely. So this is the way Yoga Maya actually arranges for all the pastimes. Lord Brahma and so many demigods, they used to come in, and then hover in the sky and used to become astonished to see their all the joyful picnics that they all used to have. Of course, you all know that once, like Brahma actually got, doubt whether Krishna is actually God or not. Okay, that's a Brahma Vimohana. Okay, so anyway, so we won't really get into that in detail now. Also, in this Bandir Vana, another but very astonishing pastime happened. Okay, so that is why this Bandir Vata is more famous. Once, when Krishna was a little boy, Nanda Baba used to come to this place with Krishna. He came. Once he really came, I was taking with Nanda Baba. This is before he was even going to cow herding. So also, so sometime in a few of Krishna's Gopas also used to come along with that day, one particular day. Suddenly when Nanda Baba was with Krishna, black clouds gathered from all directions and a scary rainstorm developed. The place became pitch dark, so dark that there were nobody could see anything. So dark, and there were very loud thunders and lightning. Everybody was scared. And you have to believe this. Krishna, as a little boy, got scared when he heard the thunder. You have to believe. Even Nanda Baba also became frightened. And Nanda Baba immediately grabbed the Krishna and kept on his lap. But then he said, okay, all right, let me really take him to another safe place. And he really started moving also. Then he really came to a place. And all of a sudden, right, all of a sudden, something happened. And the extraordinary, beautiful daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, who is Radharani, appeared there in the form of a grown-up young girl. Okay, this is important. Okay, that time when Krishna was there as a little boy, Radharani also appeared as a small girl. But here, the Radharani came exactly as she is in the Goloka Vrindavan. She appeared there as a grown-up young girl. Not like a baby as the age of Krishna, but exactly as she is in Goloka Vrindavan. She came and gave her hand to Nanda Baba, indicating that she wanted to take Krishna with her because Krishna is afraid. The already astonished Nanda Baba did not know what to do. By looking at her, without he even knowing what he is doing, he handed Krishna to Radharani. So Nanda Baba gave Krishna to her hand. Radhika was taking the little Krishna with her, and Krishna was walking behind. They were holding the hands. They were walking deep into the hand, and Radharani was taking that little Krishna deep inside this forest. And Nanda Baba was stunned, and then he was just didn't know what to do. She was just standing. Radhika then took Krishna to the very innermost part of this Bandirvana, and both came under that shelter of the same Bandirvata. Here, immediately, Krishna manifested himself as the most beautiful Kishora, as in Goloka Vrindavan, who bewilders even the mind of the Gopid. And meanwhile, all of a sudden, Lalita Devi, Vishakha Devi, and all the gopis, so many gopis also one by one appeared in their original youthful forms as they are in Goloka Vrindavan. So the same as in Goloka Vrindavan, that scene just appeared here. They manifested in that form. The Sakhis also brought down Lord Brahma also along with them. Why? Knowing the desire of Kishora and Kishori and the gopis, Lord Brahma performed their Gandharvic marriage. It is not marriage because in Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, they are not married. This is just as a pastime. They were doing Gandharvic marriage. They are not married. And Lord Brahma was there, who recited the Vedic mantras, and these Kishora and Kishori, Krishna and Radharani, they exchanged flower garlands. As you see in the right side, you can see that in the picture. When you go to this Bandirvata, you will see this exactly the same place where the marriage happened, and you will see the picture where they were exchanging these garlands. Krishna and Radharani, when they really exchanged these flower garlands, the delighted Sakhis sang wedding songs. And the demigods were just showering flowers from the sky. So if you go to this Bandirvata in Bandirvana, you have to remember this pastime. Otherwise you cannot really understand anything. Because if you do not attend these classes, and there when we go, there will be hardly any time because of the crowd and this everything. We cannot even talk like this. We cannot really tell the stories like this. That is why you must hear before you go to Vrindavan. While everyone looked on Sri Radha Krishna, Lord Brahma left the place. All the Sakhis also disappeared. And Krishna again assumed the same form of the small boy. But Radharani, same. And now, all the clouds, all had dispersed off, and the sky became clear again. It was very pleasant as before. And Srimati Radhika took Krishna exactly the same way as he really took Krishna from Nanda Baba and came back to Nanda Baba and returned Krishna back to Nanda Baba, who was standing waiting for Krishna. So now Nanda Baba returned with Krishna to his palace. Okay? So this is a very, very important pastime that happened in this place. Also, in the same Bandirvana, another pastime happened. On one summer day, Krishna and Gopas brought the cows to drink water at the Yamuna here and then let them graze freely. The boys became so absorbed in the delightful picnic that they were unaware that their cows were really going off and away and away and away, far off. Actually, the cows that day entered into a dangerous forest called Munchavana. So this Munchavana is a very dense and hot place, very hot place too. It was so dense, even when elephants can really get in, they will be very difficult for them to get back. It is so dense. You will get lost there. The cows got lost. And it was so hot there. It's a hot place. And it was a summer, again as I said. And the cows were feeling so hot, no grass there. It was really, they were really feeling of dying thirst and began to cry out of distress. And the Sakhas heard these cows were really shouting from far away. And they immediately all ran away, ran towards that direction where the cows are, the sounds are coming without telling Krishna and Balaram. Krishna and Balaram were there. So they just Gopas one by one, they all went there. But all the Gopas who went there, they were also caught lost in that dense forest along with the cows, and they could not get back. Meanwhile, the servants of the wicked Kamsa set fire around in this Munchavana. And within a moment, the wind had spread the fire everywhere. The fire's blazing flames surrounded the cows and cowherd boys, who saw no other means than to call out to Krishna. They cried out loudly, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, Krishna!" Krishna heard and immediately ran to that place. He saw the condition. Oh, this is very bad. And this forest fire is going to kill everyone. All the cows, all the Gopas, everything going to be finished. He said, "Oh Gopas, my Sakhas, okay, don't worry, just close your eyes. You should never open. Just close your eyes very tightly." And they all closed, because the thing is, they know that Krishna does all kinds of things. So they closed their eyes very tightly. And Krishna swallowed all of the entire forest fire within a second. Then he said, "Okay, now you can open your eyes." And when they opened their eyes, where all the Gopas and cows were? They were all again sitting under the cooling shade of Bandirvana. In festive, they were eating, they are really as if nothing happened. All the cows were grazing peacefully exactly the place where it was actually grazing. So Krishna brought all the Gopas back. Like remember when Krishna moved all the Madravasis to Dwaraka, it happened in one night. The whole palace was built by Vishwakarma, and then whole night everybody got ready. They woke up. Next day morning they woke up in Dwaraka. Oh yeah, this is my, wow, this is my palace, this is how, etc. Like that, all arranged. Here, same thing again, just like that, everybody came to normal. They are back again. So the distress of the forest fire seemed to be like a dream. There all the cows were grazing, and the Gopas were all enjoying peacefully near there. So why did Krishna ask the boys to close their eyes? This is the question. Well, you may know the story. When Krishna took little mud, when he was in Gokul, and he really put on his mouth, what happened? Mother Yashoda was not happy. She came all the way there to really beat, to really beat him with a stick, saying, why you can actually eat, why you ate mud, and all kinds of things happened. And now Krishna thought, if these sakas tell the same way that I actually swallowed this fire, what will my mother do? She won't allow me to go to the forest to Kaugadi anymore. So Krishna this time did not want to take any chance. So he did this. This is all the pastime. This happened in Bandirvana, and nearby is this Munchavana. Now let us cross the Yamuna little. Okay, so we were inside. So we were actually inside Brindavan area. Now there are some vanas which are located outside Yamuna. So let us cross the Yamuna and enter into this vana called Belvana. Okay, what is Belvana? So Belvana is in the outskirt of the main Brindavana, not inside. Bel means Bilva. Here there were so many Bilva trees. Here Krishna and Balaram, along with their sakas, used to come sometimes to eat these ripened Bilva fruits. And most importantly, here is a temple of Mahalakshmi. So what is the significance of this Mahalakshmi temple? Here, Mahalakshmi is doing tapas. Big tapas, just standing. Why? To enter into Vrindavan. Yes, Vrindavan cannot be entered by Lakshmi Devi. No. Why? No one in Aishwarya mood with Vaiti Bhakti, that kind of attitude cannot enter Vrindavan. So this Aishwarya mood is only for Vaikunta, not for Braj. So once Sri Lakshmi Devi heard a description from the mouth of Narada Muni about Brajendra Nandan, Sri Krishna's sweet Rasa Leela, and the very good fortune of the gopis. And so then Mahalakshmi, developed the eagerness to see this Rasa Leela. Then she said, yes, I want to see this Rasa Leela, only to see, not to be part of it. But no one but the gopis has a qualification to be part of the Rasa Leela. Nobody else can enter. Even all the Vedas, all the Shastras, they also appeared as Vedacharis, right? Like as another kind of gopis. They could not really participate in the Rasa dance. They could only see. Also, when Lord Ramachandra came to Tandakaranya forest, those 60,000 rishis wanted to get married to Lord Ram because of the beauty. Lord Ram said, okay, I cannot do it now because I am a Ekapatni brother that I am following. So next, when Krishna comes, that time you all go there and you can have. They came as Vanachari gopis. Okay, Vanachari gopis. What exile the Vanachari gopis could do? They could not they could not dance with Rasa dance. No, it's not possible. So they were only seeing. Even to see, it's not possible. That is what actually Mahalakshmi wanted to see, but even she was not granted. And even up to this day, she is still standing in meditation, hoping that one day, Krishna will actually allow her to enter to see the Rasa Leela. It never happened. No luck yet. So even to this day, she is performing austerities at this place outside Vrindavan. See, I told you, it's outside Vrindavan. So Jivas destined to go to Vaikunta won't develop the mood of Braja. We covered this topic so many times, and you can see this by yourself. So the next is Lohavana. Lohavana is also at the outskirts of main Vrindavana. You will see after hearing what I say why this is also outside the main part of Vrindavana. So one has to cross Yamuna from Vrindavan to come here. This was where Durvasa Muni had his ashram. Who is this Durvasa Muni? Durvasa Muni is an Amsa of Lord Shiva. And this is the place what you see on the right side is basically exactly the same place. Now it's a big temple, and that was the place where Durvasa Muni was actually having his ashram. And it was from here that Durvasa Muni crossed the Yamuna on a Dwadasi day and went to the palace of Ambarisha Maharaj in Madura, which we covered when I talked about Madura. Just when the king was about to break his Ekadashi fasting, he went and then did all kinds of things. And finally what happened? Then he was chased by the chakra, which came from Ambarish Maharaj himself. Because the thing is, every devotee, pure devotee is actually empowered by the Lord, because he gives a chakra with them all the time. So that's what came. It did not come from Vaikunta or from Golok. No, nothing. No. So, this pastime has been narrated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, if you see the 9th canto and 4th chapter or something, it's all there. So also near this hermitage of Durvasa Muni was the ashram of Parasara Muni. Who is this Parasara Muni? He was the father of Vedavyasa. Parasara Muni was the original author of Vishnu Purana, not Vedavyasa. But later, Vedavyasa wrote it again. Basically, he was the one who wrote it after hearing from Parasara Muni. So Vishnu Purana had several versions. You have to understand. Vishnu Purana, what we have now, is corrupted. The one translated by Wilson, a foreigner, okay, now he is a foreigner, is the one that the whole world uses. His translation had a big fault of translating 2 words, which I really covered sometime in some Karikatha. That the meaning is different, but he wrote that, okay, he really, it was 2 hairs. One is Krishna, one is Balaram, with black hair and white hair. Completely wrong. That's not the meaning of those 2 words. This was how the whole world got lost, thinking that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu. This is the problem. And the entire world is now befooled. Because why? If you know the entire world, are they really, there are devotees? No. How can they really get the truth? This is how they will be befooled. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laughed at this when Sanatana Goswami was actually mentioning about, when they were actually discussing about, he said to throw these things out. Only thing that you have to follow is Srimad Bhagavatam, because Vedavyasa wrote this at his last stage, and that is the only one that you have to follow, and nothing else. Anyway, Vedavyasa and other sages and saints would visit this Parasara Muni there. And also close by, on the bank of Yamuna, was the ashrama of Tattatreya. In Kanyakumari, there is a very big temple in the near the ocean. It's the temple of Tattatreya. This is a rishi whose patni made Lord Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma as children. But again, you see that Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma, they belong to Brahmanda. Above Brahmanda, you have so many things that Hindus don't know about this. They think only these are the only three gods. No. Above that you have so many things to really go through. Brahmajyoti is there, then Vaikuntha is there, Dwaraka is there, then Saket is there, then goes up and up and up, and Mathura Dham goes up, and then Goloka Vrindavan. But Hindus are stuck only this one. Anyway, this is a place where Satyavati, who is Satyavati? Matsyagandha. Who is a Matsyagandha? Mother of Vedavyasa used to stay. Okay, so the same place where these Durvasa Muni's ashram was there, that is around the same place where she was also staying with her father. Who was the father? Actually a boatman who had raised her. Okay, who really took her from the fish and all. You know the story. So the island on which Vedavyasa took birth is very, in the Yamuna. I showed that same place when I covered Madura before. That was the first episode. Also at the same Durvasa ashrama, the gopis once crossed Yamuna and brought so much of delicious foodstuffs and satisfied Durvasa Muni. Anyway, that's the story. That I think you must have heard about this. This Durvasa Muni ashram that you see is actually now new. And it is under our Gurudev. That's why I'm putting our Gurudev's picture. There is a big story. Inside that, actually, you can see the Samadhi of Durvasa Muni also. The old ashrama, after Durvasa Muni left the body, was not maintained well. And Durvasa Muni once appeared to Srila Gurudev, right in front of Gurudev. And he asked if he could take over the ashrama and maintain. Yeah, this happened. Gurudev said, Durvasa Muni, you have come. You used to make so many problems to Vaishnavas, starting all the way from, remember Ambarish Maharaj, that is your habit, and you are asking me to take over your ashram. And first of all, how can I take your words? Also, I am going to install only Radha Krishna deities there, because Radharani, the gopis visited there too. Durvasa Muni said, no problem, yes, please do that, please do that. Then the temple was renewed by our Gurudev. Even now, if we go there, this ashrama is actually under our Gurudev only. So Gurudev installed the deities of Radharani and Krishna, and very soon fighting started. So, from their side, the followers of Durvasa Muni there, living there, and our Gurudev's devotees, big fight started. They were fighting so badly and many were badly hurt. So Gurudev backed off. Durvasa Muni again came to our Gurudev, appeared, and then they told, okay, then Gurudev was telling, see, I told you, you are a problem maker. You always were making problem for all the Vaishnavas. Now you are also actually making the same kind of problem now. I am not going to really follow you. Then Durvasa Muni was really, no, please do that. I am going to really appear in their dreams, so that they will know that I am commanding to really, so that you take over this ashram. And then Durvasa Muni promised to our Gurudev. He said it would never happen. And in fact, after that, everybody got silent. So now this ashram, Durvasa Muni ashram, is under our Gurudev, completely maintained. Okay, now I am going to be almost finishing it up. 3 more. I am going to talk about Akrura Ghat near Yamuna. Okay, we are just roaming around Yamuna now. You all know the story that Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna and ordered Akrura to bring Krishna and Balaram, pretending that it was an invite visit to really see Madhura. Kamsa planned to kill Krishna. Actually, Akrura was an uncle to Krishna by relation. So when Akrura entered Vrindavan with his chariot, as soon as he crossed Yamuna, he just knelt right there on the ground, and he could see the footprints of Krishna, and he just touched his his head on the foot and started, tears came. And he came with a plan actually. You will see. I'm going to go to really mention. And he came in a very special chariot that was given by Kamsa. with everyone. So anyway, he came, talked to Yashoda, talked to Nanda Baba, talked to so many, all the elderly Gopas, and so many things happened. It's all, you can read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he said, yes, this comes as order, that Krishna has to be taken back to Mathura. But also he was saying, don't worry, I have some arrangements. And immediately Balaram was also hearing, I also want to go, because I want to protect Krishna. That is my duty. So both got into the chariot. And Akrura was just driving the chariot. And all the gopis were running. They did not want Krishna to leave that place. They just all fell just in front of the chariot. He said, yes, you take the chariot over our body. Oh, then Krishna was telling, no. Don't worry. I will come back. Okay, this is the thing. I will come back very soon. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. I have a mission and I will come back. So then, because of the promise that was given by Krishna, the gopis let him to go with Akrura. And when the chariot reached near Yamuna, Akrura stopped his chariot in one place. That is this place called Akrura Ghat. Ghat means bathing place. It's the side of the Yamuna. There is a temple also. What you see here is actually a temple. Inside, you have a deity of Akrura in the middle, and Krishna and Balaram. So you see in the top left. Actually, Akrura did not want Krishna to be killed. So he stopped the chariot. Then after that, he said, okay, you just wait. I have to take, I have some business to do. I have to take some dips in the Yamuna. And he walked to take bath in Yamuna. Why did he go to take bath? It had a very important purpose. Akrura did not want Krishna to be killed. So to protect Krishna, but to kill Kamsa, Akrura secretly arranged a big army in Mathura. Akrura told the commanders who should come in disguise and wait to see when I bring Krishna there near Yamuna. And there I will give a signal. What is the signal? When I will take bath here in this Yamuna before I really cross the Yamuna. But if I take 3 dips, you can start going to really start the attack. I will leave Krishna here and I will join and then we will finish him. That was the plan. So Krishna and Balaram were sitting in the chariot watching Akrura walking to the Yamuna. And Akrura took 1 dip inside Yamuna. But he couldn't believe. The whole Krishna and Balaram, they appeared right there inside the Yamuna. He was shocked. Then he got up and he saw it's the same. Krishna and Balaram are now sitting on the chariot. He was wondering, what is going on? What is this? What is this? There must be a message. Then he was curious to really see again. So he took the 2nd dip. And again he saw same thing, Krishna and Balaram there. Adishesha and all Vishnus and this, all the spiritual world, everything he could see. So then he really caught up and saw that Krishna and Balaram still there, they're sitting on the chariot. Now he was convinced that the war he had planned need not be done. He did not take the 3rd dip, but he was, by looking at Krishna and Balaram's face, he walked towards the chariot. And Krishna was smiling and asked Akrura, Uncle, what about your 3rd dip? Now Akrura was really came to his, wow. Akrura now understood that Krishna and Balaram knew all his plans too. Now he was completely convinced, as a Supreme Lord, they can take care of Kamsa very easily, just like a dust. That's it. So he said, oh Krishna, 3rd dip is not necessary. I can take you both now to Mathura. So the temple, what you see here, is the exact place where Akrura stopped that chariot. When Jahnavi Mata, you may remember when I really covered when I was talking about Radhakunda, she actually stayed in Akrura, Akrura Ghat. Now inside you see these deities that I really mentioned there. So during Parikrama, Gurudev used to give a wonderful Harikatha here about so many things that really happened around. And yes, I have 10 more minutes. I think I can finish 2 more slides, then we will stop. So very near to this Akrura Ghata, there is also a place called Yajna Sthala. Yajna means Yajna, sacrifice. Sthala means place. This is where many Brahmanas were performing Yajna. This is near Yamuna again. Once Krishna and Balaram along with the Gopas came to this place, all the Gopas became all of a sudden so hungry because they really played in Yamuna. Then they ate all the lunch, whatever they brought, and all of a sudden they could not control their hunger. They asked Krishna and Balaram, "Oh Krishna, see, we are so hungry, we don't have anything to eat. Please arrange something." And Krishna and Balaram said, "Oh, no problem, don't worry. Look at there. There is a lot of fire, sacrificial fire. The smoke is coming from. There is a big yajna is going on. You all simply go and tell our name. You just say that Krishna and Balaram send us. Go and ask those Brahmanas. They will give something to eat." But when they went, when all the Gopas went, all the Brahmanas were so busy in chanting and these and everything. Why? To go to heaven or to go to Vaikunta, and they neglected the Gopas. They were chasing the Gopas away. You are trying to interrupt our yajna. Get lost. So they were actually driving them away. They were so ignored. So the Gopas were just crying and then came running back to Krishna, who had actually sent them. So the Brahmanas did not care. Then Krishna said, "Don't worry, those Brahmanas do not care about me and Balaram. They care only about their wealth and heaven and Vaikunta. I am not in Vaikunta. But you all go to their yajna patnis and tell my name. Krishna has come." You tell. Krishna and Balaram have come. They will give you something definitely to eat. I know it. All the Gopas, because they were so hungry, now they were all running to the homes of the Brahmanas there. It was a big village. And there, they knocked the doors of the Yajnapatnis. They were at home. And when they knocked, they opened, and then these Gopas told, "Oh, Krishna and Balaram are there." And very near, they sent us to come to you all to really go, get something to eat. And immediately, all the Yajnapatnis came to know. And as soon as they heard that the name Krishna, they immediately thought, because those merchants who used to sell pawns and all those things there for them, they used to tell the beauty of and the glory of Krishna. They heard about the glory of Krishna from their ears. So they immediately, they said, "Oh, Krishna has come here." All right, they were really collecting whatever they had in their homes, and they really put on their the different vessels, and they were carrying all the way and came running towards Krishna. And some Brahmanas came to know that the wives are actually leaving to see Krishna. They just immediately, so some of them caught hold of their wives and put them inside the home and locked them. And it is said that some of the Yajnapatis actually died there because they really wanted to see Krishna. Out of the separation, they really died, left the body. It said that. But anyway, most of the Yajnapatis could really escape from, and they all came to see Krishna. They brought so many things, so many items. And when the Yajnapatnis came to see Krishna, They were awestruck to see the wonder and the beauty of Krishna. How was he standing? It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 23rd chapter, 22nd verse. Shyamam hiranya pariti vanamalya barha Dadu pravala natavesham anabratam se vinyastahasam itarena dunanam mabjam karnotpalalaka kapola Mukhabjahasam. Shyama means dark blue in complexion. Hiranya means golden. Paridhi means whose garment. Vanamalya. He was wearing a vanamala. Forest flower, garland out of forest flowers. Barha, peacock feather. Dhatu, colored minerals. Pravala, sprigs of birds. And how he was actually bearing so many minerals, jewels. And how he was standing, Natavesham, like a dancer upon the stage, he was ready to dance. And dressed like that. And he was really taking one hand and he was putting on the shoulder of one of his saka. Vinayasta, Hastam, his hand. At the other hand, he was actually twirling a lotus flower. Just. And his karna means upon his ears, he had a lily. Utpala means lily. Alaka kapola. And when his dark hair, it was just like twirling like that. Yes, hairly, it was just extending over his cheeks. And how he was looking. Mukha abja. Upon his lotus-like face, Hasam, Manda Hasam, he was having a gentle smile. So his complexion was dark blue and his garment golden, wearing a peacock feather, colored minerals, sprigs of flower buds, and a garland of forest flowers and leaves. He was dressed just like a dramatic dancer. He rested one hand upon the shoulder of a friend, and with the other he twirled a lotus. Lilies graced his ears, and his hair hung down over his cheeks, and his lotus-like face was smiling, Mandahasam. And this is the exact place where Krishna was standing like that, beautifully, in his Tribhanga form. This is called Bhojanasthala. Bhojana means eating. That's the place they all ate, whatever the Yajna Patnis brought. Then Krishna told Yajnapatis to really go back. Now you cannot go back. But they refused. No. After seeing your beauty, who will go back? We do not want to go back. But Krishna smiled and said, No. This is not good. You are all Dharma Patnis. You follow Dharma. You have to follow the Dharma. You have to return back to your husbands. But they said, our husbands are not going to take us back. Already big turmoil happened there. Krishna said, don't worry, I will change their mind. They will take you back. And they all obeyed the order of Krishna and went back. Here somebody may ask some questions. Why Krishna and Balaram did not go to the Yajnasala along with the Gopas? Because they were worshipping demigods to go to heaven. And also they are doing Yajna to probably go to Vaikunta. And Krishna and Balaram are not in Vaikunta. They are in Goloka Vrindavan. And for those Brahmanas, Krishna is just Paramatma. Krishna Paramatma. The whole world has been cheated. Krishna is not Paramatma. He is beyond. Only his one Amsa is Paramatma. Krishna is Bhagavan. And Krishna and Balaram knew. That's why he did not go. And why did Krishna tell Yajnapatnis to go back? And why did they obey Krishna and return back? Listen carefully. Krishna also used to call the gopis by his flute. All the gopis would get maddened by his call. And they all would come running from their homes in the middle of the dead night in the deep forest to see Krishna. Then what would Krishna say? Oh, why you all come? It is midnight and this is a dangerous forest. You all should go back and return to your homes. You have to follow dharma. But unlike the Yajnapatnis, gopis will not care about what Krishna says. They will not obey to what Krishna says. In fact, they chastise Krishna for what he said. They said they will die and would not go back. They say that they do not have any dharma to follow. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam, then you will understand. How many people actually are interested in even reading Bhagavatam? So what is the difference between the gopis and the Yajnapatnis? The Yajnapatnis cannot have Braja Bhakti. They had only Vaiti Bhakti. They cannot get Braja and go to Krishna. This was only a rare blessing by Krishna for the Yajnapatnis. Yajnapatnis are dharmis, Vaiti Bhaktas. Rules and regulations are actually they strictly follow. That was the same reason why the Brahmanas did not care about Krishna either. Forgive for them. Krishna Paramatma. Krishna, he is not Paramatma, I will tell you. Okay, this is another thing. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Bhagavan. Above all these. Okay, so that was the same reason why Brahmanas did not care. Ragatmya has no dharma. Actually, they are above dharma, no rules. This is the secret. We will cover more when we get back to the Madhurya Kadambini. The Yajnapatnis who follow Vaiti Bhakti cannot reach Krishna. They can reach only Vaikunta. And the Brahmanas do not want Krishna, but only Vaikunta and enjoy the heaven. So, this is the great secret that you should understand. Thank you. Hare Krishna.